Hey YouTube, this is going to be a review of some of my recent Go games, and I don't think it's going to make for easy watching. One of the things that Triton recommends is that you review each and every one of your games, and he credits doing so with one of the reasons he got to Dan level so quickly after starting to learn the game. So I've been trying to adopt this discipline, and to this end I've created a spreadsheet where I record some of the points that he suggests you look at in your game, and I've added to that some of my own. Particularly whether I'm adhering to Triton's DDK to SDK methodology, and also any connections that I see to other learnings that I'm doing. I'm currently reading Opening Theory Made Easy, which is one of Triton's recommended books, and I'm looking in my games for instances where I'm either adhering to the principles recommended in that book, or points where I'm actually going against those principles, so that I can adjust my game accordingly. So in this first game, I'm playing black, and I think I've done a reasonably good job of adhering to Triton's methodology. I've opened with solid corners. I've responded, I think, reasonably well to White's approach. I've kept my groups strong, or at least tried to. I was particularly pleased with this shape down here, recognizing from one of Triton's videos that there is a weak point here at J3 and also up at K5. And I was able to play and connect in a way which I think got me more points over here on the left-hand side of the board after admittedly having a rather small extension from my corner on the right. So I feel like that's progress. I feel like I've learned something and have applied something that I've learned from one of Triton's videos. So, okay, that felt good. Where I feel I lost this match was from moves 95 onwards. So White has this what seems like a fairly weak group in the middle here. I think it's a bit too far away from White here, such that I might be able to disconnect it. And certainly it's disconnected from this top group here, or so you would have thought. But over the course of the next few moves, I didn't really leverage my strength and ended up letting White connect. Whether I would have been able to separate at the bottom here, I don't know. I'm not good enough to judge. But I feel like at least not connecting, not letting White connect at the top here would have been beneficial to the outcome of the game. It ended up being a very close match at the end, and I feel like just being a bit more assertive and using my strength here would have produced a better outcome. One of the other things which I thought about when I was reviewing this game was whether I had really taken advantage of the direction of play that these enclosures indicate. So my understanding from the Opening Theory Made Easy book is that these stones want to expand in this direction. If I play here, it's a very flat two-dimensional shape. If I play over here, it feels much better. What I did was play F17. Now, the thinking was that there's some space in this corner, but realistically, this corner is fairly settled anyway. While I did manage to live in this corner and took the corner away from black, White has a group here, a well-established group, and it really does scupper any real potential which comes from the direction these stones want to extend into. Now, again, I'm not good enough as a DDK player to know whether it would have been more advantageous to play K16 or K17 as opposed to stretching right into the corner, but it feels to me like I've lost some potential. Game 2 was brutal. I'm playing black, and you can see that it's a reasonable start. And you can see that I've even taken on board the lesson about extending in the direction that the corner enclosure wants me to extend. But then comes move 13. And actually, I don't think this was necessarily a bad move. I was expecting the kick and then I'd take a base and I would have disrupted the bottom half of the board for White. But instead White pincers and I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I completely forgot. I even knew at this point that I should go into the corner. Triton has spoken about going into the corner. I should have done it. Instead, I panicked, and what followed was the Go equivalent, the DDK equivalent of eating peas with a fork, where for the rest of the game, White is stabbing ineffectually at this group, and I'm rolling around ineffectually. It's just a very frustrating experience. Despite this, I'm actually up by 27 points by move 139. And this is where white YOLOs into the top of the board. And what follows is just rather excruciating, where I don't do a very good job of killing a group that by all rights ought to have died. And then we get to this move here, this minus 35 point move.
Bruh.
Brutal. And then we continue for a little bit. And actually, on review, this is even more frustrating because at the point that I resigned, thinking that white had taken away a lot of my space a lot of my points at the top of the board, actually I was up by 1.8 points. So frustrating to have made such an error, but also frustrating to have resigned early when, hey, maybe if I'd just carried on playing, I might have eked out a win. In game 4, I have recorded as the reason that I lost this game, goddamn cutting points. And I just really, really struggled. I don't know why, but my groups were not strong and I kept playing silly moves. Case in point being this little structure here, where I don't know why, but I just didn't see that I'd put myself in that I'd been put in Atari, and I thought that I was being really clever, but actually, just stupid. I think I was playing late in the evening after quite a long day at work, so I wasn't really paying that much attention. And I don't know, as soon as I started making mistakes like that, I was making mistakes like that throughout the entire game, and I just got frustrated. And in the end, I just couldn't see a way forward, and I resigned on move 131. The next game I thought was going reasonably well, but white had certainly gained a huge amount of influence. And I was concerned about this, so I started to reach into it. White plays 0-11, and this is the point that I lost the match. This Hane. And white, instead of backing off as I thought he might, played the crosscut. And this led to a whole thing. The good news is that I now respect influence much more than I did. But you can see that these groups just were never going to survive. And I resigned at this point. It was a bloodbath. This next game was another deeply frustrating game. I feel like I played fairly well, keeping my group strong, and certainly at this point, I'm estimated to be 46 points in the lead. But I was aware that this was a cutting point. This was a thing that I should at some point go back and protect. But it didn't feel urgent at that point. It felt like the group was reasonably strong, and there wasn't any way I was going to be cut at that point. But flash forward a little bit more. The game is still relatively close, but I'm still in the lead by 9.6 points. Again, I'm conscious that this group here is not connected to this group which has life. And white starts filling in. And gosh, I'm an idiot. That 30 point move is just brutal. I didn't even realize I was in trouble until later in the game. I just keep on playing, keep on going, and then suddenly white makes me realize, oh, I've really screwed up here. And I think I resigned. Oh no, we just passed, and I lost by 14 points. But goddamn, that single move, very frustrating. That game actually happened on Thursday evening, and I was so frustrated. I thought I was actually getting somewhere with Go. I thought I was starting to study. I was doing Semego Hero. I was doing the things that Triton suggested would help me improve as a DDK player and get to SDK. And not only was it not working, but in fact, I'd gone from being a 21 DDK to a 23 DDK. Just deeply frustrating. So I took a break. I decided on Friday I was not going to play any Go. I was not going to do any studying. I didn't do anything. And that seemed to help. Saturday morning, and I've had a break and I feel rested, and I fire up OGS. And it starts out reasonably well. Actually, it doesn't. I pincer and white does this, and I realize I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here. It works out reasonably well in the end, but I end up with this rather weak group. Fortunately, white does try to call me out on it, but I play some moves, and it works out okay. And in the end, I even managed to fend off an invasion when white YOLOs into the top, perhaps with more moves than was strictly necessary, but white makes no eyes, and I even read out some points where a throw-in allows me to take some stones. I felt really good, and it turns into a victory. And I know the point is not to win, but I felt good that I felt like I adhered to the methodology. I'm pleased that it turned into a victory. So I've taken away 2 key lessons from this week. One is that I don't play Go well when I'm tired. And most of my games have been played after a full-on day working 9 to 6. So when I come home and my brain has just melted, playing Go, I don't know, I'm not going to play well. And I think there's nothing really to be done about that, but I think I need to have a bit more empathy for myself and not punish myself too much when I'm playing those stupid moves. Because really, I felt really down. The other thing I take away is it's really good to take a break when you are not feeling good. And in fact, if you do that, if you take some time away to breathe and reset and just cleanse your mind, actually, you'll be surprised. It probably works out pretty well for you and the quality of your game and your endeavors. So anyway, that was my week of playing Go. There were some other games, but I don't think they really deserve that much of a mention. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any comments or any thoughts on anything that I've played, or if you want to review any of these games, please, I'm all ears to help me improve. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.